McDonald, part of Spellbinders design team. Today I'm excited to share with you this fun scrapbook page that I created using the Crafty Flowers 3 die set, along with the standard circles large and small. Let's begin by doing some die cutting. Place the entire set of dies onto the base plate. Today I'm using the Artisan Explorer machine. Cover the dies with a strip of white cardstock, followed by the cutting plate. Now we can go ahead and run this through the Artisan Explorer machine. Now remove the cutting plate and we're going to replace it with the tan embossing mat and the pink embossing plate. And once again, run it through the Artisan Explorer machine to give a beautiful crisp embossed detail. The Crafty Flower series is so much fun because there's no right or wrong way to create these flowers, and there are so many possibilities. For today's project, these are the dies that are needed. I wanted to add just a touch of color to my flower, so I used a soft pink ink pad and lightly inked the top edges of my die cut petals, both the large and the medium ones. Now take the largest petals and you'll see a slit in the bottom. We're going to make use of that slit and insert the valley of the petal base into the slit. Skip the next valley and add a petal into the next one, and repeat that until all 5 petals have been added. Now take one of the circular die cut pieces from the set and add a touch of liquid adhesive. We're going to place this over top of our petals, and this is going to hold everything in place. Now repeat these exact steps for the next layer using the medium-sized petals. So again, we're going to add the petals to the base using the slit in the bottom and inserting them into the valley, continuing along until all 5 petals are added. Now use that circular die cut piece to hold all those petals together. As you can see, I chose not to use the smallest petals for today's project, but by adding them, you would have another variation to this fun, crafty flower. Instead, I chose to use this decorative piece as a topper for my flower. I used my tool-in-one piercing end to curl the edges upward to create depth. I added another of the circle die cuts to the center, as well as a pretty little gem. I inked both of these pieces with the same ink that I used for the petals in that light pink. Then I'm ready to adhere all of these layers together. I'm using a foam square to add the circle, and then some liquid glue to hold the remaining layers together. I love adding some depth to my flowers, so once again I'm using the piercing end of the tool-in-one to curl up my petals. The only thing missing from our flower now is some leaves. I die cut 4 of the leaves, and then I added some color by lightly running my ink pad over the surface. Now I paired these up in 2s to add to my flower. Now it's time to create the page for this flower to go on. I began with a background of white cardstock matted in black. I used my sewing machine to add some stitching detail. Then I trimmed a pink patterned paper and matted it with a black and white stripe, and machine stitched that as well as a strip of the striped paper across the bottom. I surrounded my photo with several different patterned papers, each one trimmed to a different size. Rearrange them and play with them until it's pleasing to the eye. Then I added my title and used my flower to go alongside of my photo. Don't forget those leaves. I also used that center decorative portion to create smaller flowers to add to my page. I wanted to add some contrast, so I used the 2 largest dies from each of the standard circles large and small and nested them together onto the base plate. I placed some black cardstock over top, followed by my cutting plate, and ran them through my Artisan Explorer machine. This gave me some fun, beautiful rings to add to my page. This is what I ended up with. I'm so happy with how it turned out. I added some sequins, as well as a little bit more machine stitching, and of course my journaling. Thanks so much for joining me for today's tutorial. I love to hear your feedback, so please leave any questions or comments in the space provided below. Be sure to follow Spellbinders' YouTube channel so you don't miss any of the upcoming tutorials. So, until next time, have a great day.